Oh yeah. What's up guys, welcome back to Inside Out Precision. In today's video I'm going to be covering some kind of basic maintenance stuff when it comes to waxing your strings and when you should get new strings, as well as just some, I wouldn't say pet peeves, but some things that you should look for and take care of before bow hunting season starts. So we open on Saturday here, August 24th. And we've been busy for the last 3 months, but especially this last week, we've had a lot of people coming in saying, hey, my broadheads aren't flying with my field tips, or, you know, I think I need new strings and they're leaving like tomorrow or the next day. And unfortunately, a lot of the time when you wait till the very last minute like this, most pro shops are gonna be really sold down on any of their equipment. So if you need broadheads or you need a string, for example, you know, strings, it's really hard to stock a string for every make and model of bow. You know, we try to keep a pretty good stock of Matthews and Hoyts, but Hoyts especially are really hard because they have different numbered cams. So even the same make and model in a bow will require different string lengths based on the draw length and cam number that it has. So it's really hard to stock those. You know, do it a month, 2 months before, where, you know, if it takes a week and a half to get the strings in, you have plenty of time to get them installed, get them on your bow, and start shooting them. The second thing is string maintenance. So I know that you hear wax your bowstrings often, and the string manufacturers are going to tell you this because it's kind of like the rinse and repeat with shampoo. Even though your hair is already clean, if they can get you to do it again, you're going to burn through your shampoo twice as fast. And I see so many people over wax their strings. You need to do it depending on the circumstances, but with average shooting, maybe like once every 3 or 4 months do you need to wax your strings. And do not wax the serving. It only goes on the actual string. And I cannot tell you how many bows I pull apart that, I mean, the strings are sticky, there's wax in all the cams, all the modules, because they're waxing the serving and the bowstring, the whole thing, and they wax it every time they shoot. And what happens when your string becomes saturated with wax, the fibers can't absorb it. And so what happens is that wax just builds up, and builds up, and your string gets heavier, like a lot heavier. So it's gonna slow your arrow down. It becomes less accurate, and the excess wax will actually collect dirt. So because it's sticky and hasn't absorbed, any dust you walk through or anything that gets on it is gonna stick to it because it's all sticky and waxy, and it actually will wear out your strings faster. So sure, the string manufacturers want you to wax your string as much as possible because that means they're gonna get dirtier, those microfibers are gonna break down sooner, and then you need new strings. So that's why I was saying it's like the rinse and repeat with shampoo. So please do not over wax your strings, do not wax the serving. It makes for a lot longer cleanup when we're restringing your new bow, because I don't want to put brand new strings on a cam and module system that's got wax everywhere, because then it's going to get in the servings and the whole process starts over again. So your bow technician will thank you. You'll see better results with your strings performance, and it'll actually prolong the life of your string. Now obviously they do need wax, but it's really easy to tell. If you look at your string and you see those tiny little white fuzzies on it, it just looks kind of dried out. Just put a little bit of wax on there and run your hand up and down the string. You know, as you rub your hand, that friction is going to melt that wax a little bit, and it's going to get into the microfibers, and it's going to absorb it all and you know, make the string more, I don't know what the word would be, I guess moist. I hate that word, but it's going to revitalize the string. So that will really help. You can use chapstick if you're in a pinch. Once your string gets past a certain point though, like if your string is 5 or 6 years old, just putting wax on it is not gonna reconnect those little microfibers that have broken. It'll mask the appearance of it. I mean, it will smooth them down and stick them to the rest of the string so you don't see them, but it's not repairing them. It can't put them back together. So you're gonna need to replace your strings, you know, even with very little shooting. After 5 years, you need to replace your strings because they get brittle just like a fishing line will, like monofilament, and it'll just pop on you. We see it all the time. Guys pull their case out of the bow after 3 or 4 years, or bow out of the case after 3 or 4 years of not shooting it, and boom, their strings pop. So don't over wax it. Keep it simple. You don't need to wax your strings a bunch. You know, obviously when you're out hunting and you're carrying your bow by your string, lots of times where your hand is, that will need a little more wax maybe than the rest of it, but just be frugal with it. Second thing that I see a lot of is guys come in and say, oh, my arrows are all flying like crap. And they pull their bow out of the case and they've had their quiver on in their soft case, all zipped up, and the sides of the case have been pressed up against their vanes. And then this happens. So I'm gonna try and zoom in on this. So you see how that vane is just completely folded over and that one's bent too. So that is like, there's no way that arrow is gonna fly well. And so I see this all the time. Guys put their arrows in their case or in the quiver on their bow, put it in their case and zip it up, and that case is pressed up against those vanes. They will not recover from that. They're gonna stay, they're gonna hold that memory, and then essentially, you know, I have vanes that are, you know, that it's gonna go through and just push that arrow all crazy. It's got a high side, it's not gonna spin well. The air is, you know, pushing through two different than one. It's just a mess. So a lot of the times, you know, that will be their issues. It's like, well, yeah, you don't have one single arrow that's fletched correctly. So then we got to strip everything, refletch, and again, it's just, you know, right before season is crunch time. We got a lot of arrow orders, as do most pro shops, and if that's something that needs to be done, chances are you're going to have to wait a couple days. And if you don't have a couple days, then you just got to buy new arrows, and now you're out more money. So for arrow care, you know, either if you have a soft case, either put them in like the front pouch. Usually they all have a front pouch, just loosely. Or what I like to do is actually use like an arrow box, like an MTM arrow case or an arrow tube. Like Easton makes one, Gold Tip makes one, MTM makes one. And keep your arrows, you know, in the little holders. You know, they're not contacting. Make sure your vanes aren't squished together in your quiver or in your arrow box. And just keep everything how they should be, because if I shot this arrow through paper, it would give me a crazy hole. So again, it's just kind of general maintenance things. I don't want to sound like I'm harping on people, but I see these things, and when you're slamming busy trying to take care of a bunch of people, it's just these little things that kind of get under a boat technician's, they just kind of get on your nerves. You know, it's like, now I got to spend an extra, you know, 20 minutes cleaning up this guy's cams, getting all the wax out of them or out of the cable slide or whatever. And that could be better spent, you know, tuning somebody else's bow or getting them into a bow or you know, a million different things you could be doing. But so anyway, I don't mean to sound like like I'm being a jerk, but this will make your bow technicians a lot happier. It'll make life a lot easier for you so that you're not dealing with things last minute, and overall everything's just going to be better. So I don't think you'll have any questions on this, but if you do, feel free to comment as usual. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Always really helps us out. We appreciate all the support, you guys. It's been so awesome. You know, we've really been doing well, and it means a lot to us. So thank you again. As usual, keep them in the middle, and remember, precision is a decision.